you can see, Kenyan is quite diverse. I am so honored to be here, and thank you, the Old Starehian Society, for inviting us, for inviting Kenyan. We bring the greetings of our MD CEO and, of course, our colleagues as well. I can also officially say I have made it to Starehe. Yes. It's so interesting. I was so shocked today that I've never been to Starehe. I visited many schools because I've been working in schools for a long time. Starehe was our competitor. I was in Precious Blood, Riruta. So we were either number 1 or number 1. Then Starehe would be number 2. So today I'm really happy, genuinely happy to be here. I've visited Starehe girls, so it's nice to be in the boys' school. Hizo rivalry za kitambo, sawa? Msinyangalie vibaya. Now we're all out here trying to make it in this big bad world, isn't it? There's the first speaker, I think it was, I don't know if it was Samuel who said, or Danny, who said, just because you went through a certain school, not to say Starehe necessarily, doesn't mean that you're automatically going to succeed, isn't it? And I found that to be such a good truth for us to bear in mind. So sometimes we think where we went is enough. And one of the first things I can assure you is that it is not enough. Sasa, my topic is on self-advocacy and sponsorship. That's what I'm going to talk about. And it is in line with our careers. The theme today is how to navigate, of course, the labor market. But I think this topic is relevant to all of us, including the students who are not yet in the labor market, but you do need to learn how to self-advocate. So the first thing I would want to debunk is the kind of sponsorship I'm talking about. Have we heard of a sponyo? So I'm not talking about a sponyo, the one that we've heard of, uko inje, a sugar daddy or a sugar mommy. I hear when they're mummies, they're called something else. What are they called? Huh? I don't even know that word, but those are not the ones. Na nasikia lazima wakwe na haria. Anakwanga mti wa haria. So those are not the people I'm talking about. The other thing is, I hope that by the end of this presentation, it will be clear to us why advocacy, self-advocacy, and sponsorship is important for your career progression. And then lastly, I hope to offer you some tips and tools for you to be able to advocate for yourself and maybe even for others. So maybe the first thing is to share that a few years ago I was in a very, very good job and I was really just giving my whole heart to the job. But at one point, there was a discussion that was held in a meeting that I wasn't, and it was decided that Elishibah needs to leave the organization. I was so shocked. Have you ever been shocked? First of all, I went to Precious Blood. I got a scholarship. I studied abroad, full scholarship. So, you know, all the things you've done. I was a good Christian. I pray. I even pay tithe. I was doing everything right. But that room where Elishibah was being discussed, there was nobody to speak for Elishibah. So that was one of the biggest lessons I learned. And when I left that job, I read a book called Lean In, and I felt I read it very late. Okay, it's a book by Sheryl Sandberg. If you haven't read it, you can have a chance to read it. Because I realized I had not created allies, I had not created sponsors. So essentially a sponsor is somebody who has access to either a table or a room that you don't have access to and can speak for you in one sentence. Sasa, I know it is very controversial in Kenya because it has been translated to kujuana. But I hope that by the end of my presentation, we will be able to separate the two. I'm not talking about kujuana hii ya kukupea bahasha so that you put my name forward. That was several years ago. Now I'm here. Mungu ni nani, si ndio? Second story. After I left that job, I joined an organization that does public speaking called Toastmasters. Okay? So I'm a Toastmaster. And I started giving speeches and I would speak, and I'm really passionate about speaking. And one day, how many of you know a forum called Engage? It's like TED Talks, but people tell their stories. So I had ever attended Engage, and I said, wow, God, maybe one day when I'm like 60, yani, I can get a chance to speak at Engage. Because I was thinking it's not even possible. It's so far-fetched. Kumbe, the people who founded Engage are also Toastmasters. So one day they were asking Toastmasters, we're looking for people to speak. And apparently, several people gave my name. So I was called by one of the co-founders, Agatha, Elishibah. We've been told we must bring you to Engage. So I wanted to ask whether you'd be interested. Where? I almost fainted. What do you mean, would I be interested? I said, yes. Said, you don't need to think about it. I said, no, I don't need to think about it. I am very interested. Somebody who to date I don't know gave my name. Several people gave my name for me to go and speak in this forum that I was dreaming about. That is sponsorship. Why is it relevant? Because it is relevant because the decisions that will probably determine your career progression, your career path, and even other kinds of growth beyond your professional life will probably often be made on tables and rooms that you're not in. But for someone to be able to speak for you and put forward your name, what needs to happen? A bunch of things need to be true. One, they need to know your character, isn't it? They need to be able to, because they're putting their reputation on the line. Cynthia, number two, this one is very simple. They need to know that you exist, isn't it? So some of us, how many of you have started working, even if you're doing an internship? You're still in campus? Started working? Siulizi, how many love their job? That's not the question. I'm just asking, right? Okay. Because of our cultures, we are trained to be modest and humble, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if a light is bright and we put it under the table, can it really be seen? It'll probably start burning the table, isn't it? So one of the things about self-advocacy is being able to show your value, to speak your value, and in such a way that it can be visible to those around you. Because for those people who need to be a sponsor for you, to know that you even have that value, they need to see it. So one of the first questions I will ask you is the skills and the talents that you have. And Samuel spoke about specialization, that you need to be very good at something. We all have something we're very good at, isn't it? Let me come to the students, the current students. Do your teachers know something that you're very good at? Do they know? How do they know? You hope they know. You've been praying about it. They have to know. Your class teacher has to know that I am passionate about becoming a biochemist. And the chemistry teacher needs to know that, because they are going to be the ones who can also help you in that destiny. Maybe you're passionate about music or communication. Mr. Hashim here was talking about holding a camera. There's a journalism club. Does the patron of journalism club know you? Know that you're passionate? How will they know you? How? You show up. We show up for those events that are related to the thing you're passionate about. We spend a lot of time writing and hoping and wishing and praying, but if nobody knows, other than God, of course it's important that God knows if you're a believer, but the people here on earth also need to know. Now, the other thing that I would want us, that I learned, is that we already have access to networks. One of the misconceptions I had when I was finishing high school several years ago, at that time Kenya was very corrupt. It has kind of improved. We're not going to have that discussion. That's not my topic. But at the time, and it was in the early 2000s, I finished high school at a transition point in Kenya when we were transitioning from Moi to Kibaki. So 2002. Don't start doing the math of how old I am. I thought at the time that I really needed to, at the time you actually, even to get a passport in this country, you needed to know somebody. Let's not get into how it is now, but it was a misconception I had, because the scholarships and the opportunities I ended up getting, I got because of what I had done in high school, which if I presented anywhere, co-curricular and curricular achievements, I could stand head and shoulders, as short as I am, above other candidates. Are we together? So I did not need to know anybody, because I was not from a family that is known by anybody, or even a tribe that is known by anybody, or even a village. But those things that I had done made it easier for me to put my name forward and get this full scholarship that I'm talking about, that took me to the US for 6 years. Full scholarship, including air ticket every year. Ya kwenda Nakuru, kurudi. But for me to apply, I was encouraged by my deputy principal and my principal, because they had seen my potential. Students, am I speaking to you? We were told like this hadharani about the opportunity. But then I was told, Elishibah, we've been seeing you doing a lot of leadership things. That is a form of sponsorship. Are we together? Sikuwa candle nikaificha chini ya meza. For those of us who have now started working, whatever field you're in, what I would encourage you is, because everyone wants some form of growth, join some form of professional body. And every profession has a body. Whether it is engineers, or it is doctors, or it is people in project management like myself, or educators, there are all those professional bodies. Join them, and join them early. And you don't even have to wait like, until I'm 35, until I become a manager. Why? Because those bodies give you a chance to network, including the Old Starehian Society is a form of a networking association. Those bodies allow you to meet people who are more advanced in your field. Are we together? And those people will meet you. What is your name? Lewis. We'll meet at a networking event. Lewis will tell me about his goals, his objectives, the internships, the attachments he has done so far. The next time I'm meeting someone who tells me they're looking for, Lewis, you studied what are you studying? He's a lawyer. I'm more likely to remember Lewis, who I met at the Lawyers Association, inaitwa nini? LSK dinner, Law Society of Kenya. Hey, lawyers, sawa, poleni. At the LSK dinner, I'm more likely to talk about Lewis. Am I related to Lewis? Has Lewis given me any money? No. But when I spoke and engaged with him, I saw his passion, and he explained to me, I'm actually very interested in family law or in land law or whatever it is. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? So these associations become very important. Number two, other than the professional bodies, here's a little secret that I need to also share. Your people are looking at you and observing you and seeing you even in other circles. Sometimes we walk around with a box like this, a tunnel vision. So when Elishibah is at Kengen, she's a very good person. She's reliable. She's, what is the other thing? Those things of heaven, Lisema? The team players. She assists people. She's a team player. But meet Elishibah kwa estate. Where? Fujo. Yeah? Kwa nini mnafanya nini? Kwa nini? I don't know if you guys are already in estate WhatsApp groups. Well, those ones are another topic. If your child has scratched my car, if you're not, there are always so many issues. Anyway, the people in my estate are seeing how I'm behaving on the WhatsApp group. Now, there might be an opportunity because you don't know necessarily everybody and what they do. They end up being in some meeting somewhere where Elishibah's name is being put forward. The name comes up, they say, huyo ni shida tupu. Huyo ni drama. Ni kashaito. Because I've been carrying myself in a certain way. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage us to have what we call a oneness of character. That you're not one thing in one place and another thing somewhere else. I've only mentioned maybe the estate, but you have other places, maybe where you worship, maybe where you socialize. All those people, you never know how or where you will meet them, or where they will meet your name, more importantly. They need to be able to see you as somebody either who is serious, who is charismatic, who is whatever you want to be added to your name as a descriptor. Now, how do you get a sponsor? Because that's another question people ask. How do I get a sponsor? Maybe where I work or even in my social life. You need to figure out where you want to go. And all of us have goals and objectives and dreams. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And then I ask myself, around me, going back to the environment that Clinton was talking about, who can help me? Who is in that space? Identify those people. And I'm not only talking about professional growth. I know today Eden is about careers, but we also want to grow in other ways. Once you've identified that person, tell them, this is my goal. This is where I'd want to go. And if possible, I'd love your support. Are we together? But for them to see that you're serious, your actions also need to match, isn't it? You've seen people saying they are marathon runners, but if I check your social media, there is no marathon ever you have ever run. Hata mnaenda kuchukua visa ya kukimbia marathon, unanyimwa visa. Because nowadays they check, you want to go to the London Marathon, they check your social media. You've told them you're a hiker, you're a marathoner. Social media iko tu na bag ni nani, siaka. There's nothing about you being a marathoner or a hiker. Are we together? So you have to demonstrate. The moral of the story, the moral of the story is it has to be demonstrable. Your passion is demonstrated by all the things you do. Now, the other thing is about when you're self-advocating, you need to be able to know your worth. Because when you're saying, I want to grow into this, it needs to be clear to you, this is the value that I'm bringing to the table. And I want to say this to you, your value is not determined by how much you're earning now or not earning. Your value is the skills you're bringing, the expertise you're bringing, the knowledge you're bringing, and also even the passion to do more that you're bringing. And that is part of your value. And your value is not something that is in the future. As you are now, you have value. You've gone to school, you've learned, you have maybe you've done some internships, attachments. There's something you have to offer that is unique and is unique to you and is of value. Forget the lies that you've been told of. You will become valuable when I don't know you're how old. We are valuable just as you are. Then there are things that are extras. Mugendi here is my colleague. He's in finance. You're an accountant, isn't it, Mugendi? But he's one of the, when Kenjan wants an MC, they call on Mugendi. So we don't have to pay for an MC because he has a skill and a talent, isn't it? So that's an added value. You are working somewhere, but you have something extra that you can do. You can even say, our social media page is not looking great. Can I contribute some ideas? I can see this is where we've been losing money. You're not necessarily the CFO, but you can see you've contributed, isn't it? That brings me to one of my next points is about our voice. Because we again have to be able to speak so that it can be known what we are thinking. That goes hand in hand with how we behave in meetings, in social settings. When you're going to a meeting, and I see you guys have been trained, I think Starehe, you're doing very well. Kila mtu kuna notebook. Ama ilitumwa kwa nini? Kwa invitation. When you have a notebook, it shows some certain level of seriousness. Number one. Number two, if you've been invited to a meeting, read the agenda. Have a question ready. Are we together? So I want to agree with what was said. Kila siku wewe ni wa kuagree na kusecond. Prepare. Read the agenda. Have a question. So when you're asked, this young lady, what's your name? Sylvia. Sylvia, so what do you think about the presentation? Sylvia, you have something to say because you had read the agenda, isn't it? Did you read today's agenda, Sylvia? Okay. Because one of the ways that we show value, by the way, is, when you show up in meetings or even events and you raise your hand and say, I thought that this was very interesting, but, or I wonder if, people start to see, this person is a thinker. This person is interested in this topic, isn't it? Sasa, sio mambo ya ku-second na ku-concur. The other thing is, now this is about how we carry ourselves. People like to do business. People who they do what? They trust and like. And they can rely on. But trust is reliability, isn't it? I can trust you. But I also like you. What is likability? You can't measure it. But you can increase your likability by how you behave. Are you polite? Are you kind? Are you a problem solver? Do you say, I think I can help? Or when there's something extra to be done, where you're like, apana, miss ilipi overtime, 5 ilisha fika. But when you're a team player, for anything, guys. And I'm coming, even the youth groups we are in. There's something extra to be done. Are you willing to say, okay, I'll take it up? Or are you the one who says, it was Njoroge who was supposed to do it, na Njoroge anashindanga, kila saa ana let down hii team? Is there anyone called Njoroge here? I'm not talking about you. People are likely to do business or to give opportunities to people that they like and trust. Then, this one, again, very tricky, but I'm likely to also judge you based on the people you associate with. Sasa, that one I think is self-explanatory. I'm almost finishing. I've talked about finding a mentor to work with you in your career, but also I've talked about in our social circles, because we are holistic human beings. And when we talk of mentors, you cannot have one mentor for everything. Okay? You can have a spiritual mentor, you can have a professional mentor, you can have a mentor who even is working with you towards marriage, if you're working towards that. A mentor who's a business mentor, because you want to start a business or you started a business. You have to have people who are guiding you in all the different spheres of your life. And we don't need to look so far. Some of the sponsors and mentors are actually your very own relatives. That uncle, that auntie, that neighbor, that person in your where you worship, that person in the organization you usually volunteer, that person in Old Starehian society. Those are the people that have been placed in your path. There's nobody who's going to fall from Mars to come and now open the path for you. That one only happened for the Israelites when they were crossing the Meshikeyo. Now, this is now the shocking news. You know where they say number 3 will shock you? Peers, your peers, can also be your sponsors. Can I repeat that? Your peers can also be your sponsors. Why? Because they're spending a lot of time with you anyway. They know you, they know your goals, they know your skills, they know your value. So treat your peers as potential sponsors. Because again, sometimes we don't realize that the people we have around us are actually a possible destiny shapers. Are we together? So, ile message ulikata ku reply. Just reply. Maybe they are calling even for something good. But now I want to bring it to us. You can also be a sponsor to someone. Because you know what they want, you know how good they are. I don't know if any of you has ever tried to start a business. How many has ever tried any business? Baking, what? Okay, amkuinua mkono kwa job, muko wapi sasa mnafanya nini? Let's try again. You've tried to start a business. I'm not asking if it was successful. Higher. You started a social media page for your business. Anybody? I know I have. You share your poster for an event that you're holding. Anybody? Higher. Then you're seeing your friends, instead of sharing your poster on their status, oh, kotunama, zenya has it make sense. But they're telling you, what's your name? Aki Ann, I really support you. Ann, your busy yako itaenda far. Ann, by the way, unakuwa mtu wa nguvu. But Ann has just shared, she has an event. I'm not sharing her poster. I'm not inviting anyone. I'm not even showing up to her event. That is being a ditch instead of being a bridge. Yes. Can I say it again? Yes, we have to stop becoming what? Ditch. Ditch ni mtaro kwa Kiswahili. You're supposed to become a bridge. A what? Please ask yourself if you are a bridge or a ditch. Because you can be a sponsor to others, even as you are. Students, you get opportunities. Here in Starehe, I know, because I've seen, the director, Amanda, Mr. Director, I saw the trophies in your in your office. So, in fact, I'm jealous. By the PB, that one I can admit. But where I am at school. Now, I want to imagine that for those trophies to have been won, it was activities that people went to. Sindo? Music festivals, football, I don't know. What else do you guys do? Scouting, St. John's Ambulance, band. You guys used to have a great band. I'm sure you still do. An amazing band. What other activities are in Starehe? Debate. Nowadays, people even go abroad, this debating, and world scholars and chess. So, you, let's say, let me take this young man. What's your name? Ezra. Ezra, you're in debate, and you're also in, you're in what? President's Award. Now you've been nominated by the head of President's Award, Mr. Polycarp, but it's the same weekend as what other thing you do, Ezra? Football. Sasa mnasikia wivu kwa nini? Even you can do football. So, Ezra is in President's Award and in football. There are two very important events that are happening the same weekend. But Ezra, your friend there is? Brandon is also a good footballer. So Ezra, maybe you're the captain of the team. That weekend, you can nominate Brandon to be the captain of the team or to take up that slot so that you go to President's Award or vice versa. Whichever one Brandon is more passionate about and you're more passionate about. But often what we do, we just say, replace. And you know very well you have a friend who is also very good and deserving also of the opportunity. Are you seeing what I'm talking about? Of course, it doesn't always work like that, but I'm saying that if we can, we should. But we need to differentiate between peer mentorship, peer sponsorship, and peer pressure. There's a difference, eh? That's another topic. Maybe Aidan will invite me another day to talk about peer pressure. Now, this is the last thing that I'll say. That when we have an opportunity that we've been nominated for, yes, that somebody has put your name forward, that someone has said, I think that our lawyer here is very good at it. What is our obligation? What's our obligation? To deliver, isn't it? To deliver, because that person, the sponsor, is putting their reputation on the line. So you have to also, when you're put forward for something, they spoke so well about you, don't go and do it in such a way that they are shocked. Were they talking about the same person, isn't it? I'm done. What I'll conclude by saying is that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So all the people we think are very lucky, chances are they prepared. So when opportunity came, they were able to grab the opportunity. When somebody had the opportunity to speak their name in a room that they are not, they could do so because of all the years or months or weeks of preparation that they were doing, whether it was going to lead to something or not. Are we together? And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I wish you luck. I wish you sponsors that will speak your name in rooms that you're not in. But most of all, I also wish that you will be sponsors for others. Thank you very much, and back to you, Aidan.